having a lot of green around me is where I feel most comfortable. I've spent the majority of my life outside in nature, walking all my dogs that I've had over the years, and that's where I feel most at peace and one with myself. The differences I found when I was diagnosed autistic, I'm still kind of working them all out a little bit. There's still so many, but I think the biggest things was looking back on my life and my childhood and school especially, and like relationships with people just helped me make sense. Like, it made me understood why I couldn't learn the traditional way in school, why I was sort of behind on things, and why I sort of was picked on in a way as like a really vulnerable sort of kid. And even as a person in my 20s and even very early 30s, I was always been really vulnerable, and it just made me see like, wow, okay, it's not all me. This isn't like, there's nothing fundamentally wrong with me, because that's what I always felt. We know women and non-binary people and of any gender, they can be autistic, and the spectrum is so vast. And, you know, it's still new to a lot of people, knowing what, you know, what is on that spectrum and all the different types that you can have. You can be really intense at one part of that spectrum and then not so much in the other. Like, there are loads of things I can do that I know from online mainly that other autistic people cannot do at all, and I excel in that. But they do things that I literally couldn't even think about doing. The reason I wanted to put myself forward for this campaign was a voice like mine and the experiences I've had. I know there are very similar ones out there, but for me, being a non-binary person, I just felt I haven't seen many stories like that, really. And to be able to, for me to get my voice out, knowing that there are hundreds and thousands of other kids and people and even adults like me that have had the very similar experiences of being brought up as a girl and as a woman and projecting and, you know, being perceived as that for so long, finally getting to the place where I know who I am better. I think that's important to have that voice, because I never saw that growing up. There was nothing for me to see of that. And I know just if one person sees it, then that is enough to help one person. I think if someone sees themselves in somebody else, that makes them feel seen and heard and included. And those are really important things for people with autism, because you spend a lot of your life never feeling like that, ever. You always felt outcast and weird or difficult or angry or all those horrible things that we're told. And we're not like that at all. Like, that's not the reality. And if someone can just see my story and be like, oh wow, okay, I relate to some or none of those things, whatever that is, but it helps them, then that's great. Because if that was me as a kid or a young person or a young adult seeing myself reflected back at me, I wouldn't have had to get to this point in my life, at this age in my life. You know, I would have been able to do things a lot sooner, and that can save some people's lives, which I think is really, really important.